Towards a New Socialism. Section. Systems of Payment and External Trade. In China, the members of the communes were paid for work that they did in work units. These were internal units of account maintained by the commune. At harvest time, people were entitled to a share of the harvest, which depended on the amount of work they had done during the year. The work units recorded in the commune accounts were distinct from the yuan, or national currency, of China. The former units were a claim upon the resources of the commune, but did not directly entitle the member to national resources. This basic principle is generally applicable to economic systems based upon hierarchies of communally owned property. Let us see how it might work in a system of urban communes. The work performed by commune members would be divided into two classes: work done within the commune and work done for the national economy. This may or may not correspond to a division of the membership into those who work mainly for the national economy and those who work mainly for the commune. Work done in the national economy gives rise to values in the forms of goods and services. These goods and services belong, in the first instance, to the people of the nation as a whole, and the national community allocates labor tickets to those who have done the work. These labor tickets allow those who have performed the labor to get from the shops goods of equivalent value. The question arises: if a member of the commune works for the national economy, is she personally credited with national labor tickets for the work done, or is her commune credited with these tickets? In principle, either system can be used. If individuals receive the national labor tickets, then the commune levies a membership fee on them. In the second case, the labor performed by commune members is treated as the property of the commune. In a similar way, the work done by employees of a subcontractor in a capitalist economy is the property of the subcontractor. If J&M Consultants plc supplies consultancy services to the government pays J&M, not J&M's employees. The employees are then paid a share of the proceeds after J&M has creamed off a profit. In the case of the commune, there would be no exploitation involved, but a similar principle would apply. The proceeds of labor, quote, exported to the national economy belong to the commune as a whole, not the individual who performed the work. The advantage of this procedure is that it puts internal and external labor on a par. If I perform a day's work in the commune kitchens, or if I perform a day's work in the national economy, I, as an individual, will be paid by the commune in commune work units. These units can be used to pay my commune dues, to pay for meals in the commune refectory, or converted into national labor tickets at the going exchange rate. We mention the exchange rate because it is not immediately apparent that communes will be able to redeem internal work units at parity with national labor tickets. To understand this point, we need to take a systematic look at the commune's accounts. First, consider the commune as a whole. Suppose the commune itself is credited with national labor tickets in the amount of the total hours of external work performed by commune members over the given accounting period. National taxes might be levied either individually or collectively. As we are working under the assumption that national labor tickets incomes are paid directly to the commune, we shall also assume that the tax liability is treated collectively. Under this system, the commune's gross income in national labor tickets is the total hours of external work performed by commune members. Its net after-tax income is equal to its gross income minus the total national tax obligation of the commune members over the same period. After making its collective purchases of national goods, the commune has a distribution fund left over. This is the total quantity of national labor tickets available for distribution to commune members, to enable individuals to buy national goods for themselves. Now consider the individual commune member. If the commune treats all work at par for its internal accounting purposes, we can simply add up the hours she works inside and outside the commune to arrive at her total labor contribution. Call this 36 hours for Communard Jane. We now have to reckon the member's obligation to the commune's collective fund. This fund has to cover the external outlays referred to above, national tax and collective purchases of national goods. But in addition, it must cover any collective internal labor needs, such as provision for the non-producing members, and basic commune services such as cleaning and maintenance of the commune's assets. Our individual communard is obsessed for a share of this fund, call it 12 hours. She will then be credited with disposable work units to a value of 36 minus 12 equals 24 hours. She can use these work units to buy non-basic commune goods and services, i.e., those not provided by right of membership, but rather charged separately, such as perhaps meals or haircuts. Or she can convert them into national labor tickets to buy externally produced goods. Here is where the question of the exchange rate arises. Suppose our communard Jane wishes to convert 16 hours worth of commune work units into national labor tickets. Other members will also want to convert some of their work units. Faced with a certain total demand for such conversions, under what conditions will the commune be able to redeem its internal work units at par with national labor tickets? This depends on the relationship between the total of demands and the commune's distribution fund discussed above. If these magnitudes happen to be equal here, there is no problem. The demand for national tickets at an exchange rate of 1 for 1 equals the supply available. Temporary random divergences between demands and the distribution fund need not be a problem either, provided the commune keeps a buffer stock of labor tickets on hand, perhaps in the form of a saving deposit. See Chapter 7. But if there is a persistent discrepancy, it will not be possible for the commune to offer free conversion of work units at par. If the demand exceeds the distribution fund, then the commune will have to, quote, devalue the work unit. For example, if the distribution fund has a value of 1,000 national hours, while demand equals 1,200 work units per period, the sustainable exchange rate is 1.2 internal work units per national labor ticket. To examine this issue further, it may be useful to discuss an illustrative set of commune labor accounts, as shown in Table 12.1. As we can see from the table, the total disposable work units will equal the sum of A, the distribution fund discussed above, and B, the total non-basic internal work done. For the definition of the latter term, see the note to the table. In the example, their common value happens to be 2,200 hours, but the equality here is not a special feature of the illustrative numbers chosen. It follows from the accounting relationships posited, so long as the commune's collective fund is in balance, with the total contributions equal to total expenditure. Given a balanced collective fund, we can now see what is required for a sustainable one-to-one exchange rate between work units and national labor tickets. Communards can do only two things with their disposable work units: spend them on the product of non-basic internal labor, or convert them into national labor tickets. Footnote: people may not want to spend all their income each period, but we assume that they cannot, quote, save their commune work units as such. If one wishes to save, one must first acquire national labor tickets. On forms of saving, see Chapter 7. End of footnote. So, if the member's expenditure of work units on internal non-basic goods and services equals the amount of labor credited in the sphere, then the demand for conversions into national labor tickets will just equal the distribution fund available, and the one-to-one exchange rate is feasible. In Table 12.1, there are 2,200 disposable work units. There is a distribution fund of 1,000, and 1,200 hours have been credited for non-basic internal work. If 1,200 of the disposable work units are spent on the product of non-basic internal work, the demand and supply of national labor tickets will be equal at 1,000. Here then are three conditions required for a sustainable one-to-one exchange rate. The commune must do its accounts correctly. It must run a balanced collective fund on average. And it must budget for just as much non-basic internal labor as commune members demand. A persistent shortage of distributable labor tickets relative to the demand at a one-to-one exchange rate must signal the violation of one or more of these conditions. For instance, suppose the commune gives more credit for non-basic work in the kitchens than it, quote, collects as payment for meals. Then there will be an excess demand for conversions into labor tickets, which will force the work unit exchange rate below par. This could be a simple accounting problem. Perhaps meals are priced too low in work units. This could be easily rectified. On the other hand, there might be a substantive allocation problem. If too much labor is engaged in the commune's kitchens relative to the demand for commune meals, this calls for a real redistribution of the communard's labor time. Assuming full employment in the external economy, this need not be a problem. The commune does not need to act as employer of last resort, mopping up excess labor in its internal activities, and indeed should not do so if it wants to maintain its work at unit parity. These arguments all presuppose that the commune is treating internal and external labor at par for accounting purposes. That is, the commune has decided to credit members with one work unit per hour, regardless of whether they are working inside the commune or in the national economy. In that case, the exchange rate ought to be unity, and any sustained pressure away from the parity indicates an error in accounting or in the allocation of labor. But in principle, the commune could choose to value external labor more or less highly than internal. Say the members of a particular commune were to agree that external work is less attractive than internal, and therefore see it as fair to pay a premium for external work. Consistency requires that the work unit exchange rate should be in line with the rate used for accounting purposes, so that the commune thought that a 10% premium on external work was suitable, then a member working an hour in the national economy should be credited with 1.1 work units, and the exchange rate for conversions should be 1.1 work units per labor ticket. Since one of the objects of the commune is to break down the sexual division of labor and help establish a presumption of human equality, we would not recommend such a policy. We merely note it as a possibility. End of section.